Hey, tennis fans, you are listening to Watching Matchpoint Canada, Canada's premier tennis podcast. This episode brought to you by Recovery as we continue action from the National Bank Open in Toronto. Mike, Eala Mania has officially come to a close in our great city, but still plenty of great tennis to come. And what a run she did have, finally succumbing to a former champion at this event, Belinda Bencic, in straight sets, someone who is also a guest on the podcast for today.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny to me, the parallels, because Bencic really shot to fame at the National Bank Open, then called the Rogers Cup, of course, 11 years ago in 2015. And she's had a very solid career that we'll discuss in a couple of minutes. And for Eala, 21 years old, about the same age Bencic was back then, even though she isn't going to be winning the National Bank Open, she had a fantastic run, winning her first title last week in DC against a very, very strong field. And she continued that momentum through the early rounds here, but came up against a real immovable object in Bencic, who just showed her experience and her poise. And I think it's fair to say, and totally understandable, that Eala finally ran out of steam after playing so much tennis lately, and not even the physical aspect of that run that she's had, but just mentally all the emotions, which she even mentioned after her first win in Toronto, just all the emotions that she's been carrying, positive emotions, but also just overwhelming emotions. And it's completely understandable, I think, that that had to end somewhere.
It had to end somewhere. And as you mentioned, Belinda Bencic, such a veteran performance. I thought she was so solid on center court the previous night at SoBi Stadium. Just fantastic, her ability to redirect the ball. And you just felt like Eala could never find her groove or get comfortable whatsoever. Interestingly, Bencic has won her last 10 matches against left-handed players. And impressed, she said she actually doesn't like playing lefty. She finds it uncomfortable. The rhythm, the timing is different, but she's someone who's always timed the ball well and has that world-class backhand. But still such a scene. I think the entrance to the court for Alexandra Eala last night was electric, as it's always been. And then the beautiful exit and the send-off. Just what a moment. So I think a season we will not forget at the National Bank Open. What we've seen unfold over the past several days with the Filipino community coming out in full support. Just so immense how they took to this player. And she really is, in my opinion, the real deal and a soaring star in the making.
It's been a real win for tennis overall. And, Bencic wasn't just facing one lefty. She was facing about 10,000 other lefties and righties in the crowd who were clearly supporting Eala. Yeah. And so credit to Bencic for blocking out the noise. And I don't mean that in a negative way. The noise was wonderful. It was truly one of the best atmospheres ever experienced for me in live tennis. And who knows what happens next for Eala? Does she continue this rise? Does she end up in the top 10 by the end of 2026? Does it take her a little bit more time to get there? Who knows what happens next? Regardless, I think we've got someone with immense star power in terms of bringing a brand new demographic and community into the sport of tennis. A lot of people who probably had never watched a professional tennis match or any tennis match live before, who've walked away from this experience, not only solidifying their love and devotion to the player, but I think also finding a love to the sport of tennis. And I think that's the most important takeaway from all of this, is that Alexandra Eala is bringing more people to the table. And there's lots of room. We've always got room for more in tennis. And I'm just so incredibly impressed by how she's done that, both with her play on the court. It's not just by virtue that she happens to be Filipino, but just the way she carries herself, the way she connects with the audience, the emotions that she carries and displays. I've been so very impressed and can't wait to see what happens next. Hopefully not too much pressure put on her, as we've seen in the past with some young, especially female athletes who've risen up the ranks quite quickly. Let her do her thing. Let her find her way. And I think she's going to be okay.
I think she's going to be just fine. The U.S. Open is going to be fascinating in a few weeks when she makes her arrival there. Mike, you had a chance to speak with Belinda Bencic. She's been a past guest on our podcast a number of times. She's always made time for us, which has been terrific. And let's listen in to your interview with the Olympic gold medalist, Belinda Bencic.
You're listening to Matchpoint Canada. I'm your host, Mike McIntyre. I'm very happy to be joined here in Toronto by Belinda Bencic, 2015 champion. Boy, 2015, that was a few years ago now. Does it still feel fresh in your mind, the memories, or so much has happened since then that it's sort of an ancient history at this point?
Thank you. You're making me feel very old.
You're not as old as me, so don't worry. You got lots of time.
Ancient history, but no, it feels like a while ago for sure. It's just really nice memories that follow me throughout my career, and especially playing here, it's always good memories. And I'm really excited to play this tournament always. It's just really nice when you come back and you know you've won before, doesn't matter when. So yeah, it's nice.
Is it easier in some ways at that stage because you don't know any, I feel like saying you don't know any better yet at that point. You're so young and inexperienced that when you get on a run like that, it's just kind of you go with it versus now where you've been playing a little bit longer. Do you feel more pressure at this stage or does the experience really help you?
Yeah, I think when you're 18 years old, you just play, you don't think much, it's kind of no one was expecting anything from me at that point. And I think doesn't matter where you are in your career, you'll never be as fearless and careless as when you were 18. So now I don't feel like I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself, but still, I care and I want to do the best. So it's always going to be a bit different feeling now.
And life is so different now because you've got a family, and I don't know how you feel, but after I had kids, I felt like everything changed for me. How is it to balance the schedule when you also balance the family life?
Yeah, it's for sure very nice. I love to create memories on the tour, with our family, and we really enjoy it. It's definitely changed a lot for me as well. I don't see tennis as the most important thing in my life anymore, and it's just really nice to have this. Of course, sometimes it's challenging, but this is what I wanted, and I can definitely not imagine my life before I had a family.
I can't remember mine before I had a family, so there you go. Would you put a tennis racket in your kids' hands at some point? Is that a plan or something you would like?
It's not a plan. It's something that happened very automatically. So when I'm playing all day, so of course she wanted to try as well. But it's not something that I feel like she has to play tennis. I just really want her to play or do any sports, because I think it's really good in life to do sports. It's a great. It teaches you so much for life after, and doesn't necessarily have to be tennis. But of course, if she wants to play, I'll support her.
The time off between Wimbledon and now the hardcourt summer season, was that spent with family stuff, or did you get a little break, any vacation? What kind of things did you do during that brief window where you have some downtime?
No, I've been home in Monaco, so I feel like living there, it's always a vacation. And then, just some family time. We didn't really feel like flying somewhere again for vacation, and just been really nice to stay at home.
And now back on the hard courts, if you had to rank the three surfaces, sort of 1, 2, and 3, favorite to least favorite, how would you put them? And then how does it feel to be back on this surface?
So for sure, grass number 1, hard court number 2, clay number 3.
Okay.
And it's really nice to be back on hard court. Of course, every hard court is a bit different. The bounces are a bit higher, lower, slower, faster. It changes a lot. Grass is just my favorite because I think it suits my game the best. But the grass season is so short, so I was only able to play one tournament this time. But it's a bit sad it's already over.
I feel the same way. I played on grass court for the first time myself last month, actually, and it was amazing. Just a great experience personally as a tennis fan and someone who's played since I was a kid. But very different, right? Like, how long did it take you to get used to that surface, I guess?
No, for me, it doesn't take at all to get used to it, because I feel like it's so natural, and that's why I love it so much, because I don't need any time for adaptation. For me, it takes the longest to get used to clay. So I think that's why it's just the nature of my game really just fits with the grass.
And grass and hard court, obviously the two surfaces where you've made semifinals of a slam before, US Open many years ago, right? And Wimbledon last year. How badly do you want to take that 1 or 2 steps further at a slam and make it to that first sort of major final?
Of course, it's a goal, it's a dream. You never kind of stop believing, and you always work hard, but it's not something you can control just by yourself. So, I'm trying to give myself always the best chance, and we will see.
Thank you so much for taking the time today. Good luck being back here in Canada, and all the best this season.
Thank you.
There she is, Belinda Bencic. quite something 11 years ago, her winning this tournament. And now she is truly a veteran of the tour. I kind of laughed to myself the other day because I saw her kind of exiting the media center and she was pushing her toddler in a stroller. And I was like, wow, how time really flies compared to probably the first couple of times she played our event here in Toronto.
Well, I used the expression ancient history to describe that 2015 win because it seemed like so long ago. And she's kind of like, hey, wait a minute, I'm not ancient, and she's not, but she has been around for quite a while. And as you mentioned before, she's been on the podcast several times. And a big thanks to her agent, Marian Ball from IMG, who has constantly set up those with us. He also represents, among others, Vicky Mboko. So I spoke with him the other day in media, a little aside here, and he says, let's connect with Vicky in the fall when she's doing a little bit better and has a little more clarity with that knee injury. But to have Bencic back is terrific. I think one of the most talented players on the women's tour, active women's tour, who doesn't have a slam. She's made 2 career Grand Slam semifinals. You'd think that she would have had more, but she has shown an ability to perform under pressure, of course, with her Olympic results a few years ago. Not the Paris Olympics, but what was the one before that? Tokyo Olympics, that's right. Yeah. She's taken time off to give birth to her first child, and she's really come back to where she left off. I mean, she's right there just outside, I believe, the top 10, and she's always kind of been that just inside or just outside the top 10, and with that backhand and power and confidence, she certainly belongs there, and I can see her remaining there for quite some time. It's going to be great to watch how this tournament unfolds here in Toronto. As we're recording now, we're on the cusp of the quarterfinals. And we've got a Bencic versus Coco Gauff happening on Tuesday night in Toronto. Winner to face Osaka or Rybakina, who are playing each other for the first time ever. So, I mean, that bottom half of the draw is just absolutely stacked. Really doesn't matter who comes out of it. You're going to have a terrific semifinal and a finalist that's going to be well prepared to compete for that trophy.
Well, it's surprising. I believe Bencic and Gauff have played each other something like 8 times. It always seems to go 3 sets. They have absolute battles. They played a handful of times this year too. And Osaka has never played Elena Rybakina, which is kind of stunning to think that those two have never faced off in a tournament before. So I'm very curious to see how that one turns out. Just a word from our sponsor. This episode brought to you by Recovery. And if you are in Toronto, you're feeling run down, stressed, or just not operating at your best, check out Recovery Toronto. That's RCVRI. Located at 8 Mercer Street. It isn't just for athletes, it's for busy professionals, parents, high performers, or anyone who wants to feel better in their body with cold plunges, sauna, red light therapy, compression boots, PEMF, and more. Recovery helps reduce soreness, improve sleep, lower stress, and boost overall recovery. Whether you're training hard or just grinding through those long work days, this is where your body can reset. Just visit Recovery Toronto. Use code MatchPointCan to book your first session. And speaking of booking sessions, I mean, you got to get tickets to I think the quarterfinals and semifinals are still going to be stacked at our event at the National Bank Open. Even with Eala out, even with Leylah Fernandez out, there's still so much star power in terms of Osaka Rybakina we talked about, Belinda Bencic still there, Coco Gauff, and then Iga Świątek still in the mix, gearing up for a big quarterfinal matchup as well.
Yeah, there's so many terrific players. Toronto's really been the recipient of a terrific draw this year. And any way it shakes out, it's going to be amazing. I just want to say a few words to the people who are listening. One, about Recovery, our sponsor. If you want to go there, use the code or just hit me or Ben up directly, and we could give you a special first-time offer as well to get in there. I leave there every time, and I feel like I'm back in my 30s. So that's probably all the positive review you need to hear. It's really terrific. Second of all, I just want to give a shout out to a couple people I've run into on site this week. One, her name's Kate. She works at the Burger Priest on site. And she mentioned that she was never a tennis fan before the tournament, but that she's listened to every one of our episodes since the tournament started. And she's really gotten into it, and it's helped her kind of enjoy the event working there as a member of the crew. So thanks for listening, Kate. Appreciate it. And also a few others. I don't have their names, but they've come up to me on site. One yesterday, I was there with my son, and he's like, hey, are you Mike McIntyre? I recognize your voice. He heard me talking to my son. I listen to your podcast all the time. And so not that we think that we're just talking to each other each week, although sometimes it does sort of feel like that, Ben. better than talking to oneself. But, it's nice to be reminded of the fact that there are a lot of people that are tuning in that are using this as their daily dose, weekly dose of tennis news. And we just really appreciate that. So
For sure.
Thank you for following. Thank you for subscribing, hopefully on YouTube as well. And any new listeners who've come into the mix, whether you're from the Philippines or Filipino Canadian, an Eala fan or otherwise, please keep coming back and supporting us. We do this year round. Sure, we talk about Canadian results and players, but we talk about everything else going on as well. And we hope that our passion for the sport is something that resonates with you and that keeps you coming back.
Yeah, stay with us through the whole year. It doesn't just stop after the National Bank Open. So we really
it never stops.
The tennis calendar really truly never stops. Let's touch quickly on Leylah Fernandez before we wrap up here. She was the last Canadian standing, made it to the Sunday round of 16, falls to the 4-time Grand Slam champion, Naomi Osaka, 6-4, 6-4. Overall, what are your thoughts on this tournament? And maybe, I think, probably a bit of a step forward for Leylah since adding Eric Heckman to the team and, probably trying to get back kind of in that top 20 and better conversation.
Her win over Mira Andreeva, the 5th seed, was her best win in over a year, her first top 10 win of 2026, and her first top 10 win in over 12 months. That must be hugely encouraging for her. She says the partnership with Eric is working well, that the communication is honest and open, and she says it's similar to her father in that sense, that he doesn't pull any punches, that he'll just tell her straight up what's on his mind, that the dynamic between Eric and her father Jorge is off to a good start, so hopefully that continues. Maybe Jorge will pull back a little bit and allow Eric to sort of take the reins, which might not be a bad thing either. She says that the plan was solid. It was just her execution of it that didn't quite hit the mark in her 6-4, 6-4 loss to Osaka, that a couple of times coming into the net, she needed to sort of make those volleys and didn't. But she's encouraged by where they are together after 2 tournaments. And so big fan. You and I, similar to how we've been talking about how Felix Auger-Aliassime needed a bit of a coaching change and a new voice at some point. I think for Leylah to bring someone else in as well, and someone with a resume like Eric Heckman can only help her. Spoke with him this morning, actually, and he said he'd be happy to come and chat with us about how that partnership is working. So and we've had him on the podcast, of course, before when he was working with Venus Williams, Serena Williams, and Haley Baptiste. So good to know that if you're looking for more Leylah Fernandez news, her new coach will be with us in the coming weeks.
There you go. And as we wrap up, just a note on Montreal there into the quarterfinal stage as well. Not the same star power we have in Toronto, but Rafael Hodar has still progressed. Arthur Fee's still in that tournament. Ben Shelton had a quality win over João Fonseca as he looks to defend his title. We still have 4 days, including the Monday night session left of tennis at the NBO. And then we will be wrapping up. I'm excited for it.
Me too. And once we wrap up this tournament, I'm taking my phone and I'm putting it away for at least, I don't know if I can
throw it in the lake,
but for a few days and hopefully going camping and unplugging. But my goodness, has this ever been fun? It's been a great week for us. A lot of gains have been made for sure for the podcast. And I think that translates into gains for our audience as well. So thanks so much. Look forward to talking soon. And Ben, a few more days to go. We got this.
Yes, pushing through the grind. Thanks so much, guys. We will talk to you next time. Thank you guys so much for watching us at Matchpoint Canada. If you like our work, follow along, hit the subscribe button below.